All right. Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We're glad to have you here. This session is designed to be collaborative, as reflected in the speech bubbles on the slides. At Crestwood Associates, our goal is to provide practical insights you can apply. Let's go ahead and get started. Part of our webinar is a few housekeeping items to just get us kicked off on a good first start. Everyone has been muted upon entry. Please submit any questions in the Q&A section throughout the presentation. We'll address them at the end of the session to ensure a smooth and focused experience for everyone who is able to attend. My name is Nicholas Cabrera, one of the 6 customer success managers here at Crestwood, focused on Microsoft Dynamics clients. I work with many of you on license alignment, renewals, product roadmaps, migration initiatives around primarily GP and Business Central. While our entire CSM team supports this client base, I'm primarily your contact for Dynamics environments to help ensure coordination across services, support, and product strategy. But that's not the only product we support here at Crestwood. We also support Acumatica, which is another cloud-based ERP that fits very well within our primary tech stack. Next on our call, we have Michael Saganda, our Business Central senior consultant. Michael's expertise in Business Central, specifically with a background in financials, will be invaluable as we explore its functionalities. His insights will help us understand how to leverage this tool effectively for your business needs. Let's give a warm welcome to Michael as he shares his knowledge with us. Very happy to have you here with us today, sir. Now, on today's agenda, we're going to be focusing on mastering revenue recognition with compliance. We will discuss the challenges many face in this area and explore robust tools and strategies to overcome them. Additionally, we will address the complexities of multi-source compliance. Now, remember, be prepared for that interactive Q&A session where we can discuss next steps and clarify any doubts you may have. So please keep those coming. We'll definitely be able to take care of those at the end of the call, and we very much look forward to doing so. Now let's go ahead and get into the presentation part of what we have for you today on our coffee. So this is where we'll dive deeper into the topics outlined in our agenda. The live format allows for some more interaction that we can do in real time. So please feel free to engage, ask questions as we go along, and let's make the most out of this opportunity to learn together. And as I said, make sure you got that coffee ready. All right, thank you, and take care, Mike. I'll be with you throughout the presentation.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me. So today we're going to be exploring revenue recognition methods in Business Central. We'll be discussing how we can use dimensions to capture/track multi-channel data and configuring that in the system to record it accurately. We'll also cover posting sales orders, especially when shipment and revenue recognition dates differ. Additionally, we'll review deferrals and options for deferred revenue like subscriptions and project-based revenue, excuse me. Let's get started. To effectively capture channel data, or what channel the revenue is coming from or is being provided by, it's important to utilize dimensions. In the screenshot, I have created a channel, as you can see, by creating a dimension and using some example values like e-commerce, retail, trade show. You can effectively set these default dimension values for customers or items, which can significantly enhance the efficiency of the data entry and reduce the likelihood of errors. Defaulting the dimensions on the master records like customers will yield more consistent and accurate reporting. When a sales order or sales invoice is created, it will automatically bring in that dimension or channel in this case to the posting and to that transaction, which will allow us to then further report on it and do things of that nature. So to do this, in the previous slide, we showed how you can create the dimension and add those values. Now, to default it on the customer card, for example, you go to the customer card, click on the dimension button that you see there, and then add the dimension value. So it defaults on any upcoming sales order or sales invoice. If you were to add a bulk of dimensions, you can do that with the configuration package if you don't currently track these kind of activities. Okay. Right. So next slide. Another important revenue recognition problems that we see our customers face is when they have different transaction dates between when you ship and the date that you invoice or recognize revenue. This is an FOB destination versus FOB shipping point problem. If you have this scenario where you recognize revenue when the goods are transferred to the customer dock FOB destination, you will need to post the shipment but you still need to post the shipment to decrement inventory on the shipment date. You're in luck. We're in luck because BC allows you to separate both events with different posting dates. So to do this on the sales order, so if you go to the sales order, you put in your normal sales order, and when you are going to ship the product on the sales header, you update the posting date to the shipment date, as you can see in that first little screenshot. When you do that and then hit post, you should see an option, as you can see on the second screenshot, that gives you the optionality to ship, invoice, or ship an invoice. If you click ship, it will only ship the product without doing any kind of recognition entries on the revenue side. It instead moves the valuation of the inventory to a different GL account so that you can decrement your perpetual inventory, but still keep the valuation until the revenue is recognized when the product is delivered. So once the recognition event happens, i.e. the product gets delivered or service rendered, whatever the case may be, what we can then do is whoever is going to be invoicing this can go back into the sales orders and go back to the posting date and update it with the actual delivery date or our recognition event. So go back in there and then you hit post, and then the user would select that invoice function. Okay. So as you can see, I have the shipment entries noted. So the green ones at the bottom, where you basically have a reclass from one inventory account to another, so you can keep that keep it on your balance sheet. And then when you invoice, you have your full recognition event, which basically does the regular or standard transactions like COGS, revenue, inventory, cash / AR. But the important thing is to kind of see here, if you notice on the posting dates, you'll see that there's a differentiation. So allow the user and the reporting mechanisms to record and recognize revenue on the correct dates. Okay. Let's talk about other methods of capturing revenue. Some businesses have models or sell products like prepaid subscriptions where we need to invoice a customer for an annual subscription, but the goods or services are delivered perhaps on a monthly basis. Business Central does have an option to cover this with deferral codes/templates. Business Central natively has features that enable automated revenue recognition over time rather than recognizing it all at once. This functionality allows you to map directly to unearned/deferred revenue accounts and then apply those to the sales accounts once this deferral code is applied. When the invoice is posted, when you use this, all deferral entries are recorded at the time of post. This will ensure accurate and timely revenue recognition. And this is key, that all the entries are posted at the time of the invoice. So let's discuss the deferral template. The deferral schedule allows us to create unique deferral codes for each template. So if you have different models, it allows you to have a flexibility to apply different types of deferrals. So like if you had a 12-month subscription or a 6-month subscription, you can create these codes and default those or add those directly to the sales line, which I'll show in the next slide. It allows you to apply the number of periods of how this revenue is going to be spread. The user does have various calculation methods, including straight line, equal per period, which distributes over the same period of time, days per periods, i.e. the number of days in a period, and there's also a user-defined setting as well. In our example, I've selected a simple straight line example for our monthly subscription. So once you set up that deferral code that was on the previous slide, when you create your sales order or sales invoice, you simply put in the GL account that we're going to be coding this to, the revenue account, what the amount is going to be, and that little field called deferral code, you can drop it in there. And when we post, we'll get a nice little nice entries that will capture our deferrals and also our recognition via different periods, as you will see in the entries in just a second. So the first entry is, as you can see, it just created an AR transaction. So debit to AR. Ready to go. And yeah, I had to do this over a couple slides because there is a significant number of entries that do get created. So I didn't want you guys to have to get out your magnifying glasses. You might spill it over your coffee, so that's the reason. But now let's look at the deferral, the deferred income. So we see the debit to the AR/cash, but then we also see the deferred revenue account also get hit with the $12,000. So we got that credit balance sitting in there. But the important part about this slide is that you'll see all of the entries where it's recognizing the revenue. And on this slide, you only see the liability getting decremented here or reduced on a monthly basis, as you can see. This will go on for 12 months, but as you can see, it does it on a monthly basis, and you have those posting dates that are important to see so that you can capture them correctly. And then your deferred revenue account, your deferred revenue account will also be in balance once the transaction is settled. Okay. And here I've got the offset, or the other side of the transaction, where we're capturing the revenue and basically doing the recognition, right? And that recognition is the $1,000 a month, from December all the way through November of the next year. Another type of revenue that companies need to record comes via projects, or as they used to be known in BC as jobs. Projects in BC/Business Central let you plan, track, and invoice long-term tasks, including using job cards, tasks, planning lines, so on and so forth. It also allows you to manage budgets, resources, and billing of time and materials or fixed fee projects. Especially on long-term projects, accounting departments periodically need to be able to recognize and the associated costs of projects, and that may come via an invoice. Luckily, Business Central allows us to have a few methods on how we can invoice this in the projects module, and we can use these WIP methods. And these WIP methods allow us to recognize revenue in different ways. So we've got the cost value, which recognizes revenue and cost when it's invoiced. Sales value recognizes revenue based on reported usage or cost. Percentage of completion, revenue recognized based on the percentage of total costs, cost of sales, completed contracts, so on and so forth. On the next slide, let's see, I'll show you kind of how to put this on the project. So in that first screenshot, this is where the WIP methods are set up. So there's these codes these are the preset ones that allow you to do basically what I just mentioned. But when you create the project itself, so you create the project, put in all the lines, in the posting section of the project, you can add the WIP method. And that WIP method, when you initiate an invoicing event, will look at what the sales recognition or revenue recognition parameters and cost parameters, and invoice based off of that. And like I said, during the course of the project, your team will post job, project journals, or have triggers that will allow you to have billable transactions. And when you're ready, you go to the project. So there's a project card. And as you can see in the screenshot, and in the line section, there's a documents and create invoice. And it will allow you to create invoices for any of the transactions that are, or tasks that are billable up to that point based off of that WIP method code that we had just discussed. So this will create an invoice. You put in the invoice date or posting date, and then that will give you your revenue recognition dating as well. And with that, as you can see, today we've captured revenue in different forms by using dimensions to capture the channels, using posting dates to ensure our revenue recognition policy dates are followed. We've used deferrals to capture deferred revenue like subscriptions, and showed BC's options using projects, jobs modules for long-term projects. Hopefully this was informative. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you kindly. I'm going to go ahead and hit control back. Okay. Excellent. So now we're going to pop into the Q&A section. This is everybody's opportunity to ask questions about the topics we've covered so far. And please, we encourage you to share your thoughts and inquiries, as this dialogue is essential for deepening our understanding as well. Your participation is key to keep this engaging. So let me just take a quick peek here at the Q&A section. And I'll give a few moments before I proceed to the next recap slide. All right, so no questions yet. I'll go ahead and continue, but please feel free. So We've gone through quite a bit with Michael on this on today's webinar. So I'd like to summarize some of the key points that we've talked about today and its importance. So we truly hope that this feedback is invaluable. So today we talked about capturing that multi-channel revenue data with the use of dimensions. And we've discussed the revenue recognition on the posting dates on sales orders. We talked about the deferral codes with the templates and the use of projects for revenue recognition. And with all of that, don't see any further questions. So I just take a moment to say thank you once more, express our sincere gratitude for taking the time to join us and have your participation with Crestwood on today's webinar. We hope you found everything, very informational and engaging. Again, thank you, and we look forward to continuing as we grow on our next webinar. Thank you again, and have a good rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Bye.